So, getting the authority from the Buddha, you have an obligation to make sure that you teach according to the word of the Buddha, that you say what he says. If you don't, then you are basically not living up to your obligation. He gives you the authority, then certainly you also have to act on those obligations to teach in the way that he taught. And this is what I try to do. I try to then, to the best of my ability, and of course these things are never going to be certain, and that's why you should always check everything I say against the word of the Buddha, never take it on trust, or maybe take it preliminary on trust, but not absolutely on trust. And then if you know that what I'm saying seems to make sense, well then it's okay. So that is original Buddhism. Now I want to move on to traditional Buddhism, and to compare that to original Buddhism so we can actually tell the difference. And one of the important things to understand, in my opinion, is that traditional Buddhism started from the very beginning. The moment the Buddha came into the world and he started to teach, you had traditional Buddhism straight away. Because once you start expressing that enlightenment experience, once you start talking about it, once you start making institutions like the Sangha, like the lay community, once you start to act on this understanding, you get traditional Buddhism straight away here. And that is very powerful to reflect on that. Very important to understand that traditional Buddhism goes all the way back to the Buddha. His Buddhism also, it's not as if everything the Buddha did was a result of his enlightenment experience. Not everything was a result of that. A large part of it was a result of the society around him. The way words were used, the way the society was structured, all these kind of things were very important in the way the Buddha taught and the way he established his religion in the world. And to give you some examples of this, take for example my appearance as a Buddhist monk. Now the shaven head, for example, is not a Buddhist thing. This goes back before the Buddha. It's part of what is known as the Samana tradition in India. The Samanas were like the ascetic, the recluses at that time, the people who went forth from the home life. And so it was part of a tradition in India at that time. It wasn't an invention of the Buddha. Or the robes I wear, these robes are roughly the same as were also worn by ascetics and recluses at that time. So this again goes back to Indian society. It's not a Buddhist thing here.